Welcome to another episode.
Welcome to another episode of Untitled Car Project.
All right, restart that because we were talking halfway through.
Okay, here we go. Ready?
No, give it a couple seconds.
Welcome to another episode of Untitled Car Project. I'm your host, Jeremy Molt.
Grant Gonzalez. And out today,
Rob again. I think we mentioned that in the last show. Hoping to have him back for at least part of the next show or two.
hopefully. We just got a lot of stuff going on this summer, guys. So
yeah, it's been a busy one.
Mm-hmm. You want to talk about what we're covering today?
All right. So we didn't get a chance to talk about modular vehicles last week, so we're gonna work that in first this week. And then, is there such a thing as too small or too large of a vehicle?
It's not the size that matters, how you use it. Okay. And anything else we're talking about today?
Nope. I think those are our two topics. There's a whole bunch of topics underneath that second one.
All right. Well, before we get into the topics and go on that, make sure you hit like and subscribe on this episode that you're listening to on any of your podcast viewing, listening services, as well as make sure to follow us on Untitled Car Project on Facebook, on Instagram, as well as we have a Facebook group going on there. And if you have any questions, concerns, comments on this show, make sure to leave it down in the comments below or email us untitledcarproject@gmail.com. We are currently looking right now for any guests that would like to be on the show that is doing currently a kit car or has done the kit car project in the past, and or looking for anyone who's into motorcycle projects. We'd love to hear from you guys and love to hear about your projects.
Any projects, really. I mean,
any projects.
Yeah. You got a badass boat. We'll talk about it.
Yes, we will. All right, real fast, because Jeremy reminded me the last episode there was no dad joke. So I'm going to ask you, Jeremy, why are teddy bears always hungry?
I don't know why.
Because they're always stuffed. All right, that was our dad joke. All right, Jeremy, start us off.
All right, modular vehicles. Mm-hmm. So,
how'd you come up with this?
The reason this came up, I was talking about this last week just a little bit. So, a friend of mine at work and I were talking about Slate.auto.
Oh, yes, the Slate car.
So, what are they called? The blank truck?
I thought there was a Slate truck.
So, well, Slate, I think it says blank slate or something like that on the website. Anyway, the whole theory of it is
it says Slate.
You pick a base and build it to your preference.
Let's go more in detail. So their truck they start off with is a 2-door pickup truck. Electric pickup truck.
Yes.
Okay. That is the first thing. Modular with a lot of things you could do to it.
Yes.
Because with this truck, it is bare basic.
Yes.
There's no power windows, no power dock doors, there's no radio. All of it's optional.
Yes.
Okay. So whatever is required by the federal government to have it has, and then everything else you can option into it or modify onto it.
And I think the dashboard is like literally the speedometer.
It should say on here what it is.
I think it's got speedometer, blinkers, headlights. The dash is pretty much blank. The truck itself isn't anything special.
Under their website it says, so what is the one Slate model? Yes, we are all about doing things that are really well and making a single design vehicle that's built to last, made for the U.S., that meets the highest safety standards and can be updated, accessories, and transformed at any time. So your needs change. You don't need to buy a new truck. You can make a Slate into something new. It's a 2-seater pickup that you can have as an option to change into a 5-seat SUV, for example.
Right.
Okay.
So the theory, not necessarily the electric part, but the theory I was really interested in.
Okay.
Right? So I know there was a couple, at least one other vehicle group that tried to do this, right?
Tesla went with that.
Tesla, and I think even before that, Scion.
So Tesla's biggest thing is they used the skateboard design. That was made originally, if I believe correctly, it was by Ford way back in the mid-2000s, sold the concept, and I think that's when Tesla bought that out. Or at least it was Maybe they took the idea of it because I don't know if you could patent that.
So it's a skateboard, and you could
design
add
is-
whatever body you wanted to it.
Yeah, a skateboard
Okay.
design is batteries in the middle, and on opposite ends where the wheels are is where you have your electric motors or motor.
Sure.
And that means you could fit onto a truck body on top of that, an SUV body, a car body,
Right, and
whatever you need onto
The
it.
theory didn't necessarily have to do with electric. It could have been a gas motor.
Well, for a skateboard design was for
electric,
because
okay.
you have batteries and motors. But for a gasoline motor, that's a different story.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay.
And we've talked about on the show modular vehicles in terms like, for example, the LS motor, how you can take
Yes.
different parts and from an LS3 and put on an LS7, put on an LS9, blah, blah. And we've also talked on modular, for example. Ford's literally got a whole design of motors called the modular motor, which you could take, a 4-valve and put it in where a 3-valve is.
Sure.
And they bolt up, et cetera, et cetera. Kind of like, and I've talked about this also plenty of time that Fords, for the most part, are like giant Legos. A lot of the parts, a lot of them
Yes.
will fit where other ones will.
So now here's the thing, right?
Okay, but we're talking a whole car now.
This is a whole car,
Okay, truck.
a truck, an SUV, whatever you want it to be, right? Why is this the first company that's doing it?
So, a few things on this one. And here's my opinion on this one. And it goes back to phones. So back in mid 20-teens, there was a phone company that was coming out with a modular phone, which is great because you can have a phone where you could take off the back of it, put a better camera on it, take off the back, put a speaker on it, take off the back, put a bigger microphone, add on a projector to it. Great, okay? What I found from history from that company, why they failed was because they found that with people who want modularization with it, okay, they will typically only use a couple things on the phone and the rest of it is just kind of wasted space for that.
Sure.
The second thing is when you have modularization means that you can't always dedicate, say, your product on there to be the top of the line best of what it could be because you have to make it so it can be removable, changeable, whatever. If you have something that's dedicated for that, you can get a much better product that's integrated into something. For example, like if you have a camera that's on to a thing that can be taken off or moved onto it, you're limited to the size of the puck that you can place onto your phone. Whereas built into a phone, you've got the entire length of it to, say, have a lens that could go run down it and use mirrors to adjust for length of it and stuff.
All right.
So that's what I've been told on the modular concept of why it's difficult to make one work is because you have to have, if you're doing a modular system, the system needs to make sense. You need to have it so the item is a well quality and high quality. And the last thing I would say, for me personally, is what will make a modular vehicle or anything modular work is price. If you buy something, for example, that is, let's say, the same cost as a standardized whatever items on the market. Let's say, let's go back to a phone. If you buy a $200 phone that's comparable to a $200 phone, I know those don't exist anymore. Let's just say,
The Google phone.
and you're paying, for any accessories onto it, $50, $20 here and there, and you have, say, $400 into invested in this phone, and it lasts you so many years and you can upgrade, that makes sense.
Right.
But if you're paying for a modular phone for $500 to do the same thing that a $200 phone will do, it doesn't make sense, especially when you're buying more upgrades for it, and then within a year that thing's already obsolete because the new Google phone's out, new iPhone's out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So let's say
Okay.
it's a vehicle
Okay.
and they give you this
Blank slate.
blank slate and you can do anything you want to it within, whatever they've designed, right?
And this one is a 2-door pickup.
This one starts as a 2-door pickup and you can turn it into a 4-door SUV.
So I'm going to clarify. On theirs, they don't have it where you can turn it into a 4-door.
Okay.
It's only a 2-door.
So let's
You
say
can
a
make it
2-door SUV.
You can make it into and this is one thing that I didn't know until before recording is with the blank slate, you can make these pickups into SUVs now, a 5-series SUV. That is important. That's a big thing.
Yeah. Now, let's say you've picked the base. You've selected to turn it into that small SUV,
Okay.
and you want the Overland package.
Okay.
That's freaking cool.
So
Now, in theory, I should be able to select all of these things that I want and go finance that
okay.
as is,
Okay.
right? I think their motto too, or their plan was you could buy the blank slate and do the upgrades later. I think. I'd have to do a little more research into that, but I think that concept is pretty cool, you know. And I know Scion tried it, where you could upgrade seats, upgrade steering wheel, upgrade, you know, all of these little things. Maybe not the motor and stuff like that. But I think you could do an aftermarket exhaust and stuff like that, right?
Scion, yeah.
All from the factory. But it failed, I think, because they didn't get enough buy-in from enough people to actually make the concept work.
Yeah. So I like the blank slate truck idea. I do have some problems with it, which ultimately for me the first thing comes down with the blank slate truck is the cost. And
is it really 26,000?
they say they currently right now, from what Google was saying, is they wanted to try to make it under $20,000 is what they said.
Under 20. Okay.
That's what they tried to. Okay, but however, current price estimates say it is between $25,000 and $27,000 starting.
That's for the base truck.
That, in my opinion, and that's
a lot.
no radio. That's no roll up. That's roll up windows.
Yep.
That is with cloth seats.
Hand crank windows.
Hand crank windows. That's with a 150-mile battery.
Yep.
That's it. Okay. That's too expensive.
I think so too.
You're talking competitors wise, you know, Bronco Sport.
Well, no, hold on.
Okay.
What does a Model 3 go for base level?
35, I think.
Are they?
I think so. Brand new.
So you're talking $10,000 more, but there's a whole lot more things in that car. Bronco Sport. What does a Bronco Sport go for?
25.
Brand new.
Yeah.
And it's got more features.
So MSRP for Model 3 right now for 2025 is 42,000. Let me see.
Damn, that's more than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, same. MSRP. So for a Bronco Sport, MSRP is 32,900 is what that is. But I've seen them, the Bronco Sport.
So you're looking at $7,000 more
for brand new.
For brand new, brand new to brand new.
I have seen those Bronco Sports though, with say like 2-3 years on them. They're in the 20s, mid 20s.
Yeah, I'm not. I want to apples to apples, new to new. Bronco Sport has more things.
Has more things. They've also it's modular.
It is modular.
Ford has made it very clear that they want to make it so you can add to it and do. Same with also the Maverick.
Okay.
I mean, let's compare that. Okay, Maverick, when it came out, it was under 20,000.
Sure.
I believe starting with a Maverick base model that you can get right now is at 27. It should be comparable to
the Maverick is 27.
Yeah, I'm gonna Google that right now, so I'm not talking on my butt right now.
And you're talking a vehicle that comes with a radio, comes with cruise control, comes with some bells and whistles, probably has more than 150 miles of range to it. Right?
So here, Maverick, hang on, starting price. Hang on, sorry. Misspelled on that starting price. Wow, they really went up. That's insane. Okay, Maverick's starting price is at $29,800.
Which is, that's still under $30,000. So you're talking $3,000 more than the Slate truck right now.
I'm wondering, hang on, do they actually... So I need to check that out because the base model Maverick, it used to be, and I'm just going to see if it still is, was a 3-cylinder hybrid that got 45 miles to the gallon.
Sure.
And when they did start off in 2021 or 2020, they were at under $20,000
to start.
To start,
so like they went up 10 grand.
Yeah, they went up 10 grand.
I wonder why.
I think in that's if you could fill up the air for a hot.
I wonder. So it has to be something along the lines of they've added more things, or they've changed the motor. They've done away with that 3-cylinder with the hybrid system.
Well, that's what I'm checking. So back in the day, and it's hard to multitask when I'm going through this. So back in the day when the Maverick first came out, they had a 3-cylinder EcoBoost motor with a hybrid system.
Yep.
And then they had a 4-cylinder, 2-liter all-wheel drive. That was optional for it.
Yes.
Okay, where the hybrid was only front-wheel drive.
Okay.
When you upgrade to the all-wheel drive, it added a significant portion to it. It had like $8,000, $10,000 to it.
Okay.
So that makes sense. So if you're buying a $30,000 Maverick that's all-wheel drive, that's a 2-liter turbo, and still gets about 35 miles to the gallon, 28 miles to the gallon, that makes sense why it's that.
Sure.
But if that's for their entry-level one that was at a 3-cylinder that's a hybrid, that's a little bit expensive in my opinion. I mean, you're getting a hybrid for that much money to pick up. But apples to apples, like you said. Let's even compare it then when the Maverick came out 3 years ago. Let's say you had a base level 1 Maverick and maybe a couple options onto it. You're at, say, 22 to 25 because that's what they were selling at for a hybrid one.
Sure.
Okay. Now you have an interior with it. You have full factory warranty or any Ford dealership, not a limited slate dealership.
All right.
You have as well as part availability nationwide for whatever it needs to go into it.
100%.
You also have, because it's a hybrid, you have a gas powered, so you go longer than what the charge can go for.
Yep.
As well as since it's electric, you can also run it on electric if need be. Okay. If that truck still existed, because the used market, I believe there's around there, but we're talking brand new. Okay. If it was a $20,000, how do you survive a slate?
I don't know.
So that's what, for me, the problem that comes down to is the price. If they can start the slate truck in the teens.
Like 15.
Yeah. And I'm talking no options. If you're option out and you're in the 20s, makes sense.
Yeah.
If you have no options, okay.
Yeah, if you got the Bose stereo system, the heads-up display and stuff like that, understood.
Yep.
26,000.
Yeah.
But base nothing, small.
Can you justify the price if you had some modular system? That goes back to the phones. You're paying more money for something, but it makes it worth it if you could say, if you're into it with options at 20, say you're at 30 grand into it with options. You're at, they do offer a better battery range at 250 miles. So 250 miles with all electric, with a 5-seater SUV, let's say with a back camera and stereo, power windows, you're in at 32,000.
Yeah.
Is that make it then worth it, say, to something like a RAV4 or a brand new Bronco Sport, or say even like a Hyundai?
So I think when you kit one out or option it, whether it's the Slate or a Bronco or the Maverick or Toyota RAV4, whatever.
Okay.
I think if you kit it out with some of these extra options and kind of cool things, I think it would make anything worth more, right?
Well, here's the other question. If you buy it and buy into it, is the aftermarket going to be there if for some reason, say, Slate's not there in 3 years? The modular system, if they make it so you, as a consumer, can go out into a third party and say, make you all sorts of parts you want for it. Whether it's a light bar, whether it's a headache rack, whether that's interior, having more cup holders, whatever you want to do it, great. Is that market exist? Because if Slate fails and the aftermarket support goes with it, was that worth your investment to get into it?
No.
Or was it worth it for you to say, okay, I have this modular system, I can do this myself. I can put all these parts into it, whether I design them and make them. Or do you have better time and resource into, say, a vehicle like, let's say, a Toyota Tacoma or an F-150?
So personally, Tacomas are expensive.
Okay. Just giving an example.
Yeah, I get it. But a Tacoma is expensive.
Yeah.
There are a lot of things that you can do to a Tacoma already.
Yes.
Right? They're all aftermarket. Some of them are TRD, Toyota built,
Yeah.
they are more expensive.
Yeah.
In my opinion, at this time, I would say I would probably go and spend the $40,000, $45,000 on the Tacoma versus a Slate because one, it's tried and true.
Yep.
Two, there's a whole bunch of aftermarket stuff from different companies that I
Already
can
been
do to
established.
it that are already established.
Okay.
There are, how many of them do you think we have in the United States?
A lot. A lot.
Probably 1 million of them.
Yeah.
Probably, and a lot of those parts cross over with the the Forerunner.
Yeah. So I guess play devil's advocate though. In order for Slate to get there, they have to have people be investing in their product.
Somebody has to buy in.
So here's my thing that I'm confused about. So they're going electric motor into it, and I could see going that route for if you have a truck that's in the city that you don't need to go far, that you can modulate, especially having an SUV where you don't need to have it big and whatever into it. That's great. That's a good idea. Perfect. Okay. The problem I've got with it is, other than the price, is how do you make it cheaper? You throw a gas motor in there. Now you have emissions. You've got fuel economy or fuel stuff. That adds way more to the cost of it.
Yep.
How you're doing an electric vehicle should be cheaper than that, correct?
In my opinion, I'm gonna venture to guess.
Yeah.
It's expensive because they don't have the infrastructure to build them quite yet.
Okay.
In a mass quantity.
Okay.
Two, when you build things in mass quantity, you get things cheaper.
Scale of economics.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. That's probably why they're 26,000 right now.
Yeah.
If they got to the point where they were building 1 million of them in a year,
Okay.
maybe they get that vehicle to the point where they can sell it for 15.
Well, let's expand it more. Let's just say one of the big three. Let's say Chevy buys out Slate or licenses their technology out and starts building their vehicles in mass where they can make it at scale of economy where it's actually affordable.
Sure.
That would probably be the best case for them, because then you can have your trucks regulated maintenance at a dealership. You can then have a producer actually back them behind them and have
extra parts.
Okay, and on top of that, you then have the marketing behind so people see it, so that way more people are buying it.
Yeah.
If you can get that truck down to say 13,000 or whatever,
Even if it was 15, I think people would start looking at it.
yeah,
I think at 26, it's a hard sale.
yeah,
You know, at 20,000 for the Maverick, that was a good buy, right? Getting up to 30,000, is it still a good buy? I don't know. Maybe for what they're selling, yes, but if the Maverick had the same stuff as the original one that was sold for 20,000, was now selling for 29,000, maybe that's $10,000 difference. It's not worth it.
yeah.
I don't know. I like the modular idea.
Here's another thing. I didn't think about this, and this also will depend on. Okay, so here's a question to ask you.
I'm listening.
And this may not be because of political climate where it's at.
Okay.
It's electric vehicle. Is it worth it if you've got tax write-off incentives on it because it's a green vehicle?
Depends on how much the tax write-off is.
So, because that's why I bring this up, because I think it's not as good as it was.
Yep.
But we had it for a while where it was like $8,000, $15,000 tax credit you get towards a vehicle. Now that
Depending on the vehicle.
yeah, if there's something like that you can do towards it, where it's like, say, even if it's $5,000 off, start
At 26,000, that's still
21,000 brand new.
you're talking 21,000 for a vehicle that has fuck nothing.
Okay.
I don't know, dude. I think at 21, it's still a hard sale.
Let's just say if taxes break onto it, where you can get it then say at 15 within, that would probably make it worth it. Here's another way to think about it. If you could buy those trucks and they still have it where, say, parts available for modularization, right? And you can buy them cheap in bulk and have the tax incentive on them, I think they'd make a really good company vehicle
Maybe.
because you can buy them.
I think that small vehicle would make a really good little delivery truck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so too. Because that way, if you're buying it, say at bulk at say 15,000, and all it really needs is a radio inside of it, AC,
Yeah.
and that's about it for delivering things or going A to B.
Yeah.
I think that'd be worth it.
You know, here's the funny thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
If it was $12,000, $13,000,
Okay.
I could almost see myself sending one up to Alaska,
Yep.
not to drive to the grocery store,
Okay.
but to drive to and from the dock, the post office, the other piece of property that we have down there, even out to, people's houses right around the bay,
Okay.
stuff like that. I could see doing that. Driving up to the lake or one of the rivers to go fishing.
Well, here's the other thing on that. Well, because you're going in the summer, it's not as cold up there, correct?
That's right.
Because when it starts getting cold, that thing
Then it's going to get zapped,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, the battery gets zapped pretty bad.
Yeah.
There are some electric vehicles on the island. People charge them at their house or at the power company. I think are the only two places right now that you can actually charge out on the island. The 65 miles, 70 miles, whatever it is from where the house is out to the grocery store,
Okay.
there's no services. You jump on that road, you don't have a gas station to stop at. You don't have a place where you can pull off and charge a car. So it would make it hard, right?
I think it'd be interesting, and not digging into the website that much right now, but if they offered a modular point at some point where you can put an electric motor into it, even if it's like a 5 horsepower gas motor to charge the batteries and make it into a hybrid, that I think would be very interesting.
Yeah, a little 5 or 10 horsepower generator type thing somewhere. Yeah, and just a little 5-gallon gas
Yeah,
fuel cell.
because then you change your electric car into a hybrid car.
Sure.
And then if you don't want that, you take it off. That would be a good modular adaptation to it.
Yeah.
And so here's the other question: are you happy that it's an electric vehicle, or would you rather had it been a gas motor?
Honestly, if that little thing had a little 4-cylinder Toyota motor in it, oh my God, I'd have been all about it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? If it looked exactly like the base model, and I could do all of those things to it, but it had a little Toyota or a little Subaru motor or, any one of those little 4-cylinder, Ford 4-cylinder motor, EcoBoost, any one of those, I would have been super, super excited about it.
I think for me, the modular vehicle, I'm not hating against the electric idea onto it. More simpler of an operation to go with. If it has the ability to do a hybrid powertrain into it, like I was saying, the gas doesn't need to power it. It just needs to power the battery.
Yeah.
I think that would be a good addition to it. In terms of having gas, the problem I've got is, so we need to also let our listeners know. We talked about it's a 2-door pickup truck starting. It's a very small vehicle. And there's not a lot of room, I think, if you throw a gas motor into there.
No.
And so...
Even a little 3-cylinder Toyota motor would be...
Well, because you have to have all
fire.
the pipes on there for emissions and stuff to have it redirect for EGR valves and then catalytic converters onto it and then have this and that and all the other things.
Yeah, I mean, you are adding a little bit of space and weight.
Yeah, I mean, not as much weight as a battery, but it's actual physical space you're
Sure.
taking up. And for me, I'm like, that's where I'm like, in something that small that you're trying to be affordable, I could see why the electric would make sense on that one. If I had it my way, yeah, little 4-cylinder would be great into it because easy to repair.
Or even a little 3-cylinder with a front-wheel drive.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think I would be all about it. And what about the motor out of a smart car? That's small, right?
Yeah, that's true. Little 3-cylinder.
even something like that, where it was small and in the front, and you could still make that thing small or whatever, like it is. I think I'd rock it.
That'd make sense. That'd be good.
I honestly, and if it was affordable, right, in the sub $15,000 range for a new one, I think I'd own one already.
Yeah. Back to the modular things. What would you want on it? What kind of modular system would you want adapted to it? So we already talked, for example, if that came out and I was going to get one, and I would support one, would say a hybrid system of some kind would need to be able to be integrated.
Okay.
Whether that's a 1-cylinder with 5-gallon gas tank
Sure.
or whatever, just something so it charges the battery so you can go longer distance.
I like the generator idea to make it hybrid.
Okay.
I don't know if I would put a tonneau cover on it because I'd want to keep it kind of simple.
Well, so they make...
But I do like the roof racks on the top of the cab.
Okay.
I think that would be a hard sell with the single cap.
Okay.
But I don't see why you couldn't put something that went over the top of that and over part of the bed to put bikes on.
So, like a rack?
Yeah, some sort of rack. You put your bikes or your tent up there.
Would you rather have that or like... So with their SUV version, quote unquote, it's just a top that goes with the bed, and now you have a SUV that then you could fit 5 people.
And that would be kind of cool too. But I would, instead of doing a hard top, I'd want the bikini top, so a soft top.
Okay.
But I'd want a roll cage over the back of that while people were in the back to make it a little safer. You know what I mean? I'm trying to remember what truck that was. Avalanche, maybe?
Okay.
Or something like that. They had that wall behind the driver's seat and passenger seat that folded down and out of the way.
That. Yep.
Something like that with, a seat that came up somehow. I think that would be freaking cool. I didn't really get a chance to look through all of the options that you could get, but I'm assuming some sort of stereo options, some sort of different door skins, different seat colors, all of that stuff. Being able to pick a specific look would be mostly what I'd be interested in, right? Different fender look, different tires and wheels, I don't know. I think basically the sky's the limit on that thing, right?
Let me go through real fast. So for our listeners going through this, so some of the things that incorporates in the base models for safety feature wise, right? It does have traction control. It has stability control. It has forward collision warning detection, which is impressive for that price. Automatic emergency braking. It has full length side curtains for both the for the truck and for if you do an SUV version, it has full airbags on that for 4. It's got keyless entry, backup camera, pedestrian identification, and high auto beam. The other thing, just as a note on this one, it's made and designed, proudly made in the U.S., designed in California and Michigan, and engineered in Michigan and assembled in the Midwest. So that's fully American-made product.
Hell yeah.
That's actually pretty sick.
That's why it's expensive.
Yeah.
What are some of the modularizations you can do to it?
I'm looking what type of motors I have with. It has a 150 kilowatt motor.
Okay.
Personalize my vehicle. You're asking me stuff on the fly, which you should know about this, Jeremy.
I know.
Yeah. I will have to look this up later.
Okay.
I wanted to say for me, for some of the modularizations I would like to have. So for me, if I had a small truck as a slate that I was using, okay, because we've talked about some of our vehicles. Like for me, I drive an F-250. Great truck. There's some problems, but I like having a big truck, but it's not always needed, which we'll go into our another topic soon. Having a small vehicle is great to have. So you can get into, say, the city, into a parking spot, somewhere, you don't need to have a big truck, better fuel economy. So having something like a small little slate that I don't need to go, say, 300 miles a day, something where I could just put around town. I'm only going to do like maybe 50 miles a day or whatever. It's not bad. What I'd want to have then would be focused on comfort. So power windows, power seats, something comfortable in the seats on that one. And for luxury features, I would like to have, if they had it available for modularization, the ability to put a small little fridge or heater inside of it.
Okay.
So if I'm driving around town for something like that as a daily vehicle, it'd be nice to say, okay, I have, water bottles in the back that keep cold.
Took my lunch with
or
me.
took your lunch with you, or keep it hot, for example.
Sure.
Because there are some few vehicles that do that nowadays. And I think that would be one that'd be nice to have. Because I don't need something to tow with it. I don't need to have anything I'm going to keep above it. It says it can tow 1,500 pounds. Its payload it can have is 1,000 pounds. But with something like that, I'm just going to get my big truck and use it.
Sure.
So for me, an SUV version having more people in the back, the bigger battery range would be good. Sound system.
Yeah.
If there was a modularization other than the hybrid system, if that does come out, the one thing I would like to have onto it would be the ability to say make it I believe it's only a front wheel drive. It's a single motor vehicle.
Sure. Yeah.
Having the ability to put a second motor into it, so I can have an all-wheel drive. All-wheel drive and a bigger battery, because if it's a daily vehicle,
So they do have the bigger battery option.
it said 250-mile range available.
Yep.
Or coming.
Yes.
So
they were basically, it doubles the battery life.
Yeah. But if I had the ability to say, put a second motor into it, and it had 250 miles, or hell, even if it had 150 with a hybrid system, and I'm paying then, let's say with tax credits and all, and options, at $25,000 into it. Okay? That's not bad. That you're comparing that now to a used RAV4 option.
Yes. Yeah, but you're also looking at a whole bunch more options, right?
Yeah.
So yes, I think at 26,000 with all the options that you've kitted it out with, I think it would make it worth it.
Mm-hmm.
But as a base model, I think they need to start at 15 or 13 and work their way up.
It'll be interesting to see where this company will be at in, say, a year time, because we'll see what actual accessory modifications come with it. See, hey, maybe they might listen to this episode and say, hey, we need to add some of these features to our cars.
Sure.
The biggest thing is just in that kind of what I would see practicality would be just a daily vehicle, something short distance, and nothing super fancy. But, I'm surprised for that much money for all the safety features. That is really important.
Yeah.
But let's move on to the next topic,
All right.
which we were kind of hinting at already.
You kind of were feathering the clutch there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You don't always need a big vehicle.
No.
And sometimes you don't need, like, Jeremy,
So let me read this for you.
Yeah.
Is there such a thing
Yes.
as too small or too large of a vehicle?
Yes.
So what are some of the benefits of either?
Well, let's start off. If you've got it first off depends on your kind of lifestyle you have.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I like having a big truck and a small vehicle.
Sure.
Having a big truck is nice, whether that's an SUV, a pickup, whatever. Because I can, if I need to go and tow something, I've got the ability to do that. If I need to go serious off-roading, to a point where, say, a basic car like a Jetta wouldn't be able to, I can do that with a truck. I have space to either carry around equipment, say if I'm moving furniture, going to pick up something large from the store like a TV or like a table, or if I have an SUV where I can carry more passengers and have 7 people because we need to get point A to B, or put animals in the back. Great having all those options. However, if I'm going to say, if I was doing, to the store every day, or going to a job that would require me to go into the city, or if I'm going to, a university every day where I'm going to be parking, I don't want to bring a giant behemoth, that's 18 feet long and, 10 stories tall. I want to be able to get into a parking spot, get it easy, find it, park, And if it's just me, I don't need to have a gas guzzler that's going to be just sucking down fuel. It's just something fuel efficient to get to point A, point B, comfortable, That
makes sense. I kind of see the benefit of having both. But we're talking about extremes, right?
So, like, for example, would you have in your arsenal, as an example, let's say a 3500 Chevy, extended or crew cab, 8-foot bed, dualies, as well as your second other car would be a smart car. Those are two different extreme vehicles.
I could see it, because I could totally see myself driving the little car to and from work on a normal basis, and then taking the 3500 and towing my 33-foot trailer.
Yeah, I could see how some people be uncomfortable in the small car, and I could see the intimidation for that.
Sure.
But if you're not like on a highway or busy road where you're going to work, it's like say 25 miles an hour, and you're going maybe 3 miles or whatever.
Right.
I mean,
yeah, I mean it gets sketchy. I've got a buddy that's got one of those little Honda Insights.
Okay. Yeah.
And he gets pretty sketched out when he gets next to big semis on the freeway.
Yeah.
It wouldn't take much for one of those tires to hit him and launch him into the freaking moon, you know?
True. But if you're not having to do highway driving, that's a whole different experience. Yeah. Let's say like your max you're going is 45 miles an hour, 35 miles an hour to work or to a commute.
So what size vehicle would be too large for the normal person?
So let's go with an age range.
Okay.
Or lifestyle first off. Let's start with the basic. Let's start with a, right out of school or high school or student. We're in high school or college. Okay?
Okay.
And your primary thing is school. I think anything larger than a mid-size SUV would be too large. Not saying you can't do it. I'm just saying, why would you need to have something that big? If your primary focus is you're in the dorms, you're at school, you're just studying,
okay,
you're not going to need a pickup to, tow anything. Let's just say because there's no boat or no nothing you have. You're not moving people. And if you are, let's say mid-size pickup to SUV.
Sure.
That's the max size. You don't need to have a giant diesel, right?
Okay, for someone in school.
Yeah.
Now,
can you see any other option why you would need something bigger than that? Smaller, I could see.
For someone in school, no.
Okay.
But what about...
Let's go to the next one up.
What about somebody...
in their mid-20s.
Who tows a 35-foot trailer?
I think you can't... A 35-foot trailer, I don't think you can go smaller than anything under a 3/4-ton truck.
Okay.
And it depends on why you're doing that. Is it for work?
But there are some vehicles that are 2.5 ton.
Okay.
And I've seen people tow trailers with those 2.5 ton vehicles. Is that too big?
It depends on how much weight you're going through. So, for example, if you're doing it for business and you're towing and not sure what you're taking, bigger the better. If you're saying it's a 35-foot...
This is a retired man towing his 35-foot trailer down to Arizona for the winter.
Yeah. That one I don't know.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah. So for that instance, for example, that trailer is a pretty big trailer that's needed for that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because with 2.5 tons... It's a good amount of weight, but I mean, you need something like that to pull that big. A 250 or 350 wouldn't tow, like, for example, a trailer that big.
No, I tow my 33-foot all the time with the 250.
Yeah, it's double-decker that's full of cars and tools.
No.
Okay.
I'm talking a 33-foot travel trailer.
Okay, well, that's different.
Okay.
We're saying for that instance.
Yeah, for that instance.
Yeah, but if we're saying, like, if it's a travel trailer, no, I agree. Then, like... Because we went to the extremes, okay? And you said 35-foot. I'm like, depends on what you're doing, depends on what you're towing on that one. And if it's for business, bigger the better. If you have a specific weight, you need to have it, get the truck. But if it's something like, say, a 35-foot trailer and it's consistent where it's, whether it's you're moving it for work and it's 7,000 pounds, it's 35 foot, but 7,000 pounds, or whether it's like an RV or a recreational trailer you're having, then I think you can, depending on what it is, you can get away with a smaller vehicle. You don't need to have the biggest.
Well, you don't need it.
No.
But I can have it. Is it too big?
So one of the benefits, if you have a smaller vehicle that can tow what you need to and not have it, it makes it easier for, say, if you're in an RV park. Okay. It makes it so you're not as far out as long because some of them have length restrictions. The other big thing is when you separate from your trailer from your vehicle, makes it so going to town's a lot easier to get into, in and out of parking spots, wherever you're going to. The other one thing people don't consider is height. Height's a big thing. You know, we've had trucks that are considered 2-ton, and I use that in quotes. You know, and the difference between a 2-ton on a Ford F650 versus, say, a KW one is like a 1.5 to 2 foot difference taller on the KWs.
Right.
And you can't make it to every gas station. You can't make it to every hotel because they have an awning on it, and you have to keep, you know, that in mind when you're entering those areas. You know?
Okay.
Or a parking garage, if you have to, because sometimes, like you're say at a baseball game, and they have undercover parking.
Okay, so to add on to this,
Yeah.
at what size vehicle should you have to have an endorsement? Because you have to have one for a semi,
Yeah.
right?
I'm very surprised that, say, like a 40-foot RV, you don't need to have a CDL for that.
Right.
You know.
So we go to the racetrack often, right? An RV towing a 24-foot car trailer.
Yeah, you're at already 80 feet length.
Right.
Yeah,
That's long.
that is long.
That's a lot to handle.
But what's nuts is because, so in Oregon, 26,000 pounds combined, you have to have a CDL, whether that's truck and trailer. But if you have a RV home that, say, weighs 12,000 and your car trailer weighs 7,000, you're underneath that limit, even though you're 80 feet long. And you can get away with that because even though it's a big truck, it's lightweight, it's thin material, you know?
Yeah. At what size do you have to, though? I mean, you said 26,000 pounds combined weight.
Under 26,000 combined weight.
So
if you
at
have
26,000 combined weight, you have to have the CDL?
Correct. So if you have like a 550 and you're towing a trailer behind you, that means your gross vehicle weight is over 26,000 pounds. And you have to have a CDL with that.
No kidding.
Yeah. So if you have something that's, say, like a 250 and you're towing
Right.
trailer and your combined vehicle weight is under that, then you're still fine.
So if you have, let's say,
Yeah.
a toter home
Okay.
and a stacker trailer with a couple cars in it, they're not telling you to pull over at the scales, are they?
Well, no.
Okay.
There are some vehicles that are classified when you get into a weight range. Like, for example, if you're in a 2.5-ton truck, which you can buy and drive, okay, that are at 26,000 pounds rated for gross vehicle weight. Those you have to have a medical card for. As well as if it has any air brakes, you have to have a medical card for example, on that one. Now, in terms of weight for the limits, when you're talking about the truck, trailer, etc., I think it's in Washington. Oregon, I got to double check on that one. But the scales say for anything over 15,000 pounds and greater.
I mean, my truck with the trailer is 15,000 pounds.
Then you'd probably have to stop. I'm gonna look into this before I get into this.
Yeah, because that, I mean, yeah, that would be interesting. Anyway, so most of those big toter homes and stuff like that, do they have the air brakes?
Says for Google AI, yes. In Washington State, you are required to stop at weigh stations if your RV exceeds 10,000 pounds gross vehicle limit weight.
So
yes, you have to stop the scales.
Technically, most of those guys would have to.
Yeah.
Is what's an
Sometimes
RV
they'll,
weigh?
huh?
What's an RV weigh?
No idea.
They got to be close to 10.
You're the one who has an
12,000
RV
pounds.
trailer?
Well, I'm not talking about the trailer.
Yeah.
I'm talking about a motorhome.
Yeah.
My truck is almost 8,500 pounds.
Okay.
If my truck is 8,500 pounds, a motorhome has got to be 10,000.
Probably.
So technically, they have to stop at the scales?
I guess. There's a lot of time when you're driving by, though, they'll say bypass, and they'll just wave you on. You know, so maybe that's how they can get away with that on that one.
I'd be curious. I'm going to have to look into that a little deeper.
Okay.
So at what point does it just become too unsafe on the road?
I think that's a... Keep talking for a second.
No. I asked you a question, damn it.
Yeah.
I mean, personally, if you've got a 44-foot motorhome and you're towing a stacker trailer, that seems like a lot, right? And I don't necessarily know if that's too big, but you got to be up there pushing the limits of what that motorhome can do, right? So,
I mean, if you got a diesel pusher in the back with a big cat motor, they could push the moon in the back.
yeah. I mean, I'm not going to disagree with that, but at that point, you're getting up into semi-truck length and size, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if those guys have to have a endorsement because they're not. Most of those aren't air brakes, right?
Most of them, yeah.
I would be. I don't know. I would almost think that it's pushing the limit.
So I'm reading through cruiseamerica.com. It says for RV travelers, although it is simple, the simple answer is no, you don't have to stop. The vast majority of drivers don't need to stop at weigh stations. Every state has different laws, but only commercial drivers and sometimes vehicle weighing over 10,000 pounds need to stop at them. Additionally, so there are states, though, you have to stop at with over 10,000 pounds on that one, you know. For example, it says Arkansas, Georgia, Iowa, Louisiana, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Nevada, North Dakota, Idaho, Rhode Island, Washington, Wisconsin require vehicles weighing more than 10,000 pounds to stop at a highway weight station. While many carry Class B RVs are exempt from this regulation, the vast majority of Class A and C RVs are not. Yeah.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I know that.
Okay.
But yeah, it's for me the because you asked me a question. Sorry, I was blanking out when you were asking me that. You were saying is like, what size do you need to?
Let's see, where did I see that? When does something just become unsafe for the road?
I feel like if you're longer than a semi truck, or heck, if you're longer than because you're at a 40-foot motorhome and you get a 24-foot trailer. I mean, there's literally semi-trucks with dual trailers that aren't even that length.
Well, I mean, that's 44 feet, add 24 feet. You're looking at 68 feet of trailer and RV.
I think when it comes to length, it should be in consideration, too.
Yeah.
As well as, like, you can't hop in that. And like, here's another example. I'm surprised a lot of these moving companies will give you the keys to a giant moving van.
Right.
People have never done that before, and you get into a 30-foot van.
Yeah, and I know some people that rented one of the big ones, and I ended up driving the rental van because I had driven one before.
Yeah.
You know, and the lady was sketched out even by the small one.
So then here's the other question. Is without those being available to general public to use, how do you kind of get used to driving something that big then?
Personally, I think you have to graduate, just like we had talked about before with horsepower.
Yeah,
you know, you don't start with the biggest thing. You start with something mid-size-ish, like you were talking about earlier with the kids in college driving maybe a mid-size SUV.
Yeah.
And then maybe
the biggest vehicle.
Yeah, and then maybe you graduate up to an F-250 or an F-350 with an 8-foot bed.
Yeah.
And then, maybe you graduate up to, what is that, a 750?
Yeah.
You guys have 750s and stuff like that?
Like that.
And then maybe from there you You drive that for a while and you move up to a 750 with a 24-foot trailer on the back.
Yeah.
You
go in stages.
Yeah.
Well, do you think then there should be like a kind of like with your license, you have your permit, then license, and then you have bigger license beyond it. You go into like a CDL. Like, do you think, for example, like people that have like a vehicle of a certain length should then be required to have a license to be driving that?
I don't know. That's a tough one, right? Because I think as long as you're safe driving and it drives similar-ish to other vehicles on the road, I mean, that's a hard question, right? I think you have to graduate up. I don't know how you do that and monitor it. You know what I mean?
Monitor it. You look at the road and see a 40-foot trailer go by, and there's no
you do
sticker on it saying, "Oh, this guy's been approved."
Right.
Yes,
with a commercial vehicle, that is 100% how you do it.
Yeah, it's legitimately how they do it. You just do the same thing, but with a.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I think it's one of those sketchy areas. I think there are 100% people that should not be driving stuff like that. But like most of the guys that we go racing with, they've done it for a long time.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they graduated from one to the next to the next to the next to get to where they're at, right?
Then you've got new guys who are just getting into the sport, for example, and they buy more money than what they know with and trying to think, okay, well, I need to start towing a race car and I need to buy a brand new 2026, Dodge with the big trailer and then close that. And doing that right off the bat,
let's do an example.
Okay.
Antonio.
Okay.
And
him and me have talked about this.
If he were to show up tomorrow,
and just for our listeners, this is a previous guest we've had on the show.
Yeah. If he were to show up tomorrow with a 21-foot motorhome and a car trailer behind it.
Yeah, he'd probably say, "Grant, can you drive this for me?"
Right. Would he be comfortable driving it?
Yeah. And maybe if, for example, talked about that is, and a better example would be like, if we're at the track, I'm incapacitated, and he has to drive us home. He doesn't have the confidence or knowledge to drive my truck with trailer and how that acts, because he hasn't been in that situation before. And we've talked about where we're going to start. It'd be nice to start him off in my truck with, say, a 8-foot utility trailer, maybe a couple weekends, drive it here and there, just moving something small where it's not a big risk, whatever, right?
Right.
And then moving there maybe to an empty trailer, then move it there to a loaded trailer. So he gets used to length, gets used to how it goes through, because you don't need to start with a big trailer. You need to just start with something small and know, okay, when I back up, the thing's going to go crooked. It's going to go opposite way of turn.
Right.
Figure out how it goes.
Honestly, I think backing a trailer up, you need to learn on a small trailer.
Yeah.
Because it's so much harder.
Yeah.
And then graduate up to the longer trailer to make it easier.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
But here's the other thing, if we can flip on this one, because we've talked about going too big. What about going too small? Because, like, when you've got, like, people on motorcycles weaving in and out in traffic and they're hard to see.
Yep.
I mean, if you're in too small of a car, the person should be more aware of that, because other traffic's not.
Right. Traffic is not going to look at you, right? As much as you need to be watching out for traffic.
Correct.
So, like, smart cars.
Yep.
Right?
You get a black smart car in the middle of the night and say when your lights go out or whatever, you're not going to be seen as much as, say, like a bright red, Ford Excursion that's down the road.
Right. And, okay, smart car.
Yeah.
One of the safest cars on the road. Mm-hmm. Still would sketch me out driving past a big truck and trailer.
Yeah.
Even your red truck and your car trailer.
Yeah.
I'd probably be a little sketched out driving past you. Mm-hmm.
Granted, I probably wouldn't let you pass me. I'd be
a
little tiny.
Maybe. But any smaller than that, might be too small for the road.
What about something like a Mini Cooper?
Old one or a new one?
Doesn't matter.
So the new ones are a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
And actually most of them are bigger than a smart car.
But are they at the point where, like, you can be confident where Like, you always need to be paying attention when you're driving.
Oh, yeah.
But you don't need to be, like, extra hyper vigilant like you would be in, say, like, a tiny car. Like
it depends on what you're around. If you're just driving and you've got normal traffic around you, no, I would think you're probably not super hypersensitive. But if you're on I-5, downtown Seattle or Portland, and there's a bunch of trucks around you, you probably become a lot more hyper aware of your surroundings, right?
Yeah. Do you add then more things on your car, like, for example, a smart car? Does it make sense to add either A, a bright color so you're more seen, or B, something that makes you more loud, like an exhaust or like an actual train horn, something that you could be heard in a vehicle like that? Or does that make it just ridiculous?
I don't think the train horn, because I have a I have a theory on those. I think they scare people. I like the sound of them. I think they're cool as shit.
Let's just say a loud horn then.
I think they scare people, and a lot of people swerve
Yeah.
when they hear them. Loud horn, maybe doubling up on the horn and making it louder would be okay.
Exhaust?
I'm all about. I am 100% all about a loud exhaust.
Yeah. Let's, instead of the smart car, let's use something like the Fiat Panda. The small ones.
The Panda?
Yeah, or what do they call it?
Fiat 500?
Yeah, Fiat 500, thank you.
Oh, or the...
Barth.
A Barth, yeah.
It's the same thing, but yeah.
Yeah,
those are small.
Those things are cool, though.
They're bigger than a smart car, but they're still tiny.
Yeah.
And you can make those loud.
I don't think those are as safe as a smart car.
Okay.
But I don't know that for sure.
Yeah. But like a car like that, the biggest thing is with a tiny car, should it be... when we talk about colors, should you have it or try to do it where it's very bright, it's very noticeable?
I don't know if the color is going to matter.
No?
No.
If you got a bright yellow
I'm wondering
small,
if
it's going to be noticeable than like a white car driving by.
I'm wondering if the paint or the colors that Nike use.
Okay.
Where if anything in the running collection has that, if a headlight shines off of it, it glows or it flashes brighter.
You mean like reflective tape?
Yes, it's like the reflective tape on your
Safety vests?
Okay.
Okay.
Their jackets and shoes and all that stuff flash with that safety color, that safety look.
You tell me when you shine a light at a Nike top, you get flashed?
Yes. In an essence. Yeah, I think adding something like that to the back of one of those cars, probably not a bad idea.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to get missed in the daylight as much. Caveat. But, anything can get missed. But definitely in the nighttime, I think that something like that on a small car would be smart.
Let's wrap up that topic. If you had to, because not everyone can afford two cars.
Sure.
Especially with how the economy is going nowadays. If you had to, and say there was no happy medium where a mid-sized car was not an option to go through, is it better to buy a bigger car or a smaller car? Say on the two situations you're going for. One is long distance driving over an hour. Okay, mostly highway driving, to and from work. That's one situation. Okay. Situation two, let's say it is a, retirement home. Most you're going to is to the store and back.
I think in most of those cases, I'm probably going to look for a mid-sized sedan.
I'm saying if that's not an option, would you rather go which extreme would you go with?
I'd probably go small.
Yeah.
I would probably go to the small extreme rather than the large extreme.
How come?
And this is my first school of thought.
Okay.
The second school is opposite. So with this small car, you're going to get the better gas mileage. You're going to be able to park in every spot. you're going to be able to save that money, right?
Okay.
If, on the other hand, you had the large vehicle, at least if you got hit, you would be relatively safe,
Okay.
right? So, I mean, both of them have their ups and downs. The large vehicle, you're going to spend a lot more money on gas, or diesel, or whatever fuel you're running, right? I don't know. It's
like for example,
it's preference.
highway driving. If you're in a small car, sometimes it can be nerve-wracking because you don't know what's going to be on there when you're passing. But if you're going back and forth and it's just an hour a day, an hour back in traffic, it makes sense because of fuel economy, because of distance. The second scenario, if you're like at a place where it's a retirement home or somewhere you're not going fast, 25 miles an hour, 15 miles an hour, and you're maybe going to the store that's not very far down the road, you really don't need a big truck. If you do, it's to buy groceries.
Yeah.
So then what situation would the bigger truck or car, whatever, what situation would it make sense to actually have something on the opposite end?
Well, I mean,
if you have kids or
you got kids, you got a boat, you got a trailer, you're going to the races every weekend.
Okay. Let's say none of that's a factor. It's all about driving.
If it's all driving,
the only thing I can
country roads.
That's what I was thinking. Is an off-road vehicle of some kind.
Country roads, because maybe you're going up to your elk hunting spot, or
or maybe passing through water, like somewhere where like the road is gone and you need to have something.
Driving through snow every day, maybe, you know. I don't know. That's I drive my big truck every day. I love it.
Come on, Jeremy, walk on the other end.
And my wife just recently sold her car and bought a big fucking SUV.
and that makes it. Why?
Why'd she get it?
Why both of you guys do that?
So
you're not towing every day.
Obviously, I got the truck because I had a truck, and
even before you had the 50, you had the Tundra.
The car. Well, I had the Tundra before that, and then I had the car before that.
Yeah. And why did you need the bigger trucks?
I got rid of the car. I've always loved trucks.
Okay.
I got rid of the car when I hurt my arm.
Yeah.
And I decided to get back into a truck.
Yeah.
And I thought for me it was a great decision.
Okay.
Because I love the trucks.
Okay. Could you, without the emotional connection of getting a truck, your lifestyle, could you have gotten away with, say, a Bronco Sport or a Maverick?
No.
Why?
Not on its own.
Why?
Could I drive just that? Yes.
Yeah.
I could.
Yep.
Do I want to?
No, and that's what I'm saying. Without the emotional connection or anything like that, like from a logical standpoint.
From a logical standpoint, yes, I could 100% get away with a Bronco Sport.
Okay. I would say up until you bought your trailer that you guys have.
Right.
You guys have an RV trailer.
Even at that, I could get rid of the trailer and only go and do,
And the flip side of the question, like for me, because I have a truck, not possible. From what I do for work, for as much towing as I do, I'd like to have a smaller vehicle because there's a good amount. And there, I do have a smaller vehicle. I have my Mustang, which is still street legal, and I do drive because I don't always need to drive a big ass truck.
Right.
That being said, I also don't need to drive a sports car every day. That's kind of why I want a car that's not as high maintenance. But it was a whole different story, different time.
Yeah.
But for me, for lifestyle, I couldn't say that because I'm towing with it. I'm loading equipment into it. I'm moving stuff. Like I'm actually using, need the ability for that, for the most part.
Yeah.
Something to think about.
Yeah. Could I get away with it? Yes. Do I want to? Fuck no.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a wrap.
All right. Well, this is a good show.
Yeah.
So everyone, if you like this podcast, please make sure to give it a like and a follow and share it anywhere that you got and tell people about our podcast, Untitled Car Project. And if you got any questions for us or know anyone who would like to have any comments or questions or concerns on their show, heck, if you'd like to talk to Jeremy, send us an email at untitledcarproject@gmail.com and make sure to follow us on our socials at Instagram and on Facebook. will catch you guys on the next one.